your source for everything paranormal. Para-X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Merry meet and hail to all. Heed the words I now shall call. Live you must, and let to live. Fairly take and fairly give. Do what thou will if it harms none. By the magic of old may it be done. 9 woods in the cauldron go, as above, so below. Welcome to Stirring the Cauldron on the Para-X Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
Hey, merry meet everybody, and welcome to Stirring the Cauldron. The opening song tonight was called Unicorns of the Silver Path, and tonight we're going to be talking about unicorns with my guest, author Diana Cooper. Now, Diana received an angel visitation during a time of personal crisis, and it changed her life. She's the author of over 30 books in 27 languages and has inspired thousands of people to fulfill their spiritual potential. She's well known for her work with angels, ascension, Atlantis, orbs, and dragons, and her guides and angels, and through her guides and angels, she enables people to access their spiritual gifts and psychic potential, and also connects them to their own angels, guides, masters, and unicorns. Diana is the principal of the Diana Cooper School, a not-for-profit organization which offers certification and spiritual teaching courses throughout the world. And she's here tonight to talk about her new book, The Wonder of Unicorns, and they are wondrous. So welcome, Diana.
Hello, and indeed they are wondrous. The most incredible beings. No wonder they're known as the purest of the pure.
Yes. I've got a unicorn as one of my oracle deck cards, and it's just a lovely, lovely thing.
Well, interesting enough, while you were talking, I picked a unicorn card for you, and for the show, and I got Pegasus, which is open your heart to love and joy. And it's the most beautiful picture of a Pegasus with its wings outstretched and all the symbols of joy like butterflies and flowers around it.
Mm-hmm. And, if people go to your website, they can pull a card as well. And I did. And it was, I got the moving card, which talks about change and prepared to either move physically or spiritually. And I think change is good in a lot of ways.
And it's so interesting, so much movement taking place now with the expansion taking place in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was very apropos. And the cards are lovely. And that's the other thing. I really have to mention that you have some very beautiful unicorn artwork in the book. So it's not only informative, it's good eye candy for people who want to look at pictures. It's really nice.
The pictures are very inspiring.
Yes, they are. Now, the book's subtitle is Ascending with the Higher Angelic Realms, and it's a guide to engage with the majesty and wisdom of unicorn energy. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you're well known for your work with angels, ascension, Atlantis, orbs and dragons. But you also talk a bit about the whole gamut of sort of the metaphysical. But I'm curious as where did your interest in unicorns particularly come in?
Well, it wasn't that I was interested in unicorns, but they were interested in me. I was sitting in the garden one day, typing as ever on my laptop, and suddenly I was aware of this energy behind me. And I thought, that's a pure white energy. That's not angels. What is it? And then I realized it was unicorn energy. And then they started telepathically communicating with me that they wanted me to spread their message and that it was really important that people got it now. And of course, everyone can see that there are wave upon wave of unicorns coming in right now. And this is reflected in unicorn toys, unicorn symbols on everything. And the reason for all these unicorn images everywhere is that people are then connecting unconsciously to the unicorn energy. You've only got to see a unicorn and you think about it and immediately one is with you. I was interested the other day, I saw a child drop its unicorn toy and the mother picked it up and said, here's your unicorn. And there was a flash of white light as the unicorn connected with them. And so this is the amazing reason behind this fantastic interest in unicorns right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. You look around and there it is. And in fact, I kind of, when I was doing my deck, the artist did a unicorn as a card, and I didn't like it. It just wasn't kind of what I expected in a unicorn, and she eventually changed it for me. I mean, I think maybe...
It has to be totally pure to resonate.
Yeah.
They're very high frequency. They tend to be higher frequency than most of the angels we work with because they're messages of such innocence and purity, taking us up into the ascended realms.
And, I mean, to go into pop culture, a lot of people... Like you said, there are plush toys and unicorn things, but for a while, people didn't really, it didn't go over to the masses, the general population. But Harry Potter did a great job of introducing unicorns and the purity.
Everything. I think those books are amazing.
Yeah. And just, I mean, I learned about it, unicorn blood, unicorn this, and what they are, and I mean what they represent and everything, the purity and everything. And so I think that really helped a lot of people understand what we're talking about tonight as far as unicorn energy and things. Now, in the book, you say that unicorns live in the 7th dimension. How many dimensions are there? And curious to learn which entities live in which dimensions and kind of what the hierarchy is. Is the 7th dimension the top dimension, or are there more?
Well, there are 12 dimensions,
okay.
But we can't access the 12th dimension or the 11th. Most of the unicorns coming in now are in the 7th dimension, but 9th dimensional unicorns have started to come in, and even a few people have connected with 10th dimensional unicorns. So that is beyond awesome. Like the angels tend to live in the 7th dimension, the 7th heaven we know it as. And but of course there are angels that are connecting with us that are in the higher realms. Lady Gaia herself is an angel. She's of the angelic realms. She is a throne, and she's 9th dimensional. All the thrones are in charge of different planets. And so most people, whether they realize it or not, are connecting to Lady Gaia. She has to issue us with an invitation to come to Earth. And it's issued with great love and reinforced on our birthdays, which is why it's such an incredibly powerful day for everybody, if only we realize it.
You've written that angels work through the heart and unicorns work through the soul, and they assist us in fulfilling our pre-life contracts. Now, I do believe that we plan our lives before we come back, and, many of us probably get lost along the way. How can unicorns assist in helping us keep track or keeping on track?
Well, your guardian angel holds your blueprint for you and is constantly whispering to you the best way forward, which of course we can ignore because we have free will. But the unicorns, they are really nudging us in a much more powerful way because they work with the soul. You can tell your angel wishes of your heart and they will try to bring them out. But you tell the unicorn your desires of your soul, those things that give you deep contentment and fulfillment. And your unicorn will take those deep desires to source and ask for a blessing to come to help open those doorways or push you along that path to bring these energies about. Right now, as you know, is the most incredibly important time that there has been since the golden era of Atlantis. So the 20 years between 2012 and 2032, Earth is doing a double dimensional shift. It's the greatest opportunity for ascension that there has ever been in the entire history of the planet, which is another reason why all these great beings, including the unicorns, are coming to Earth to help us to get there. And so the unicorn knows what our pre-life intention is, what our contract is, and is really working at a soul level to get us onto that path. Because this is end time, we have to finish all the old karmic contracts, all the old contracts about family karma, ancestral karma. All of that must be cleared by 2032. And up to now, we've been able to say, no, another lifetime will do. Now we have to take it all on and clear it. And the unicorns, in their immense love and compassion and light, are coming in to light us up so that we can see a higher way of doing it. And those people who have got lights over their heads to say that they are in service, the unicorns see them and come to them and work with them. And they will give you the qualities that you need to get the work done that you came in to fulfill. So they'll give you dignity, charisma, honesty, truth. They will really trigger those qualities that you have. And so they are really pushing the world forward right now.
And you speak in the book that they were absent from Earth for many, many centuries. And because of all this going on now, is that why they've come?
No, they've come because the frequency's risen again. In the golden era of Atlantis, which lasted for 1,500 years, Atlantis was a 260,000-year experiment. But of those 1,500 years, the legendary times that we talk about were available. Then everybody was fifth dimensional and the unicorns came in and connected with everybody. People had their own personal unicorns. And now the frequency is rising again on the planet. And it's rising to such a level that the unicorns can come in and reconnect. See, at the end of Atlantis, when the energy went down, they had to withdraw. They could not connect down to a third dimensional frequency, but they can come in now and touch us again. And you only have to think about a unicorn and it's with you. People say to me, well, how do I connect with a unicorn? The very first thing is think about them. Talk about them. As soon as you start doing that, then their energy and yours are connecting like everything else. It's about the laws of attraction. When you send out a frequency, something of like frequency comes towards you. So talking about them, thinking about them, and opening your heart to them allows them to come to you. Even just the simple act of saying to a unicorn, please come to me and touch me with your horn of light, will enable it to get through your energy fields and touch you. Because their horn of light is their third eye wide open, spiraling out pure light. So it is pure enlightened energy that they are touching you with. And it's like a magic wand. It can make magic and miracles happen. They really can do anything. I think they are just fabulous, amazing, beautiful creatures.
Yes, they are. Now, you've written about several unicorn sightings by several historical figures. I learned a lot by reading your book, like Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Confucius, and others. But I didn't know that in the King James Version of the Bible, and shame on me for not having read the Bible, unicorns are mentioned several times. In what context?
Well, just the word unicorn. Saying the word unicorn enables the connection to be made. And so the very fact that the word is dropped in there means that people can start connecting and realizing that they truly are beings. The thing is, you see, at the third dimension, people tend to think that they are mythical creatures. Then when they move up a little bit more and into the fifth dimension, they know that they are great spiritual energies that come in and help us. And I like to think that at that level, in the biblical level, that the people who wrote that book were aware that these great spiritual creatures, beings like angels and unicorns, were available to us. And so they've always been seen by psychics and those who know, like angels, and depicted as they are. I mean, the incredible horse shape was chosen for them by Source and the Intergalactic Council, and it represented their strength and power, and they love that shape. They can appear, of course, as anything. They can appear as a light, as a diamond, or in that horse shape, and that's what they love to do because it honors the shape that was given to them by Source. And of course, the angels can, and the unicorns can heal people. Any being of the seventh dimension can heal, but the unicorns have this very pure energy with which they heal. And you can actually connect into the unicorns yourself, bring their energy through you, and offer that healing to others. And in that way, connect others into the unicorn healing energy. What a lovely story I tell in the book, and it's about a lady that came to a seminar I gave in Scotland about unicorns. And I didn't know the lady, but she came a year later and told me this story. And she said that when she came to the first seminar, she was an alcoholic, a drug addict. She was in the most terrible space physically. And she was just so desperate that she came to the seminar. And when I called in the unicorns to give people healing, she saw them wrapping her up like a baby. And then a unicorn put its horn of light right into her heart. And she felt her heart exploding. She instantly gave up all the addictions. And then she started doing counseling, and then she trained herself to be a counselor. And in the year, her entire life had totally transformed. And she was telling people about unicorns. And indeed, this woman that stood before me was literally glowing with light. It was the most extraordinary thing. Unicorns can heal at the deepest, deepest levels. And they can also just touch you and help heal you on a much, much lighter level. They can work through all the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical levels that we have.
Now, I know a lot of people have spirit guides and guardian spirits around them. Does each of us have a unicorn assigned to us in that respect?
Well, it's interesting. Those who've been in the golden era of Atlantis, which seems to me to be almost everybody on the planet right now, they all connected with their unicorn then, and that same unicorn spirit is coming to them now. But of course, there are many new unicorns coming in, and so if you didn't connect before, or indeed you're, for whatever reason, wanting to connect with a different one, then a different unicorn comes to you. But very often people say how familiar their unicorn is. They remember it. They remember the feeling. And if they give them a name, it establishes a very strong connection.
Do they, like with the Fae, do they like offerings?
I think every spiritual being likes an offering because it's love. And so, as you know, I'm sure from the question, if you put a sweet out for a fairy, then it takes the sweet is still there in the morning, but what it's done is it's taken the essence of it out, the love essence that you put out, and that's what they have absorbed. And so every being loves that because it's an offering of love.
Are there any specific offerings that unicorns prefer?
I think anything that you like, they like.
Okay,
that's how it works, because that's the love that you've given. You don't give them a mushroom if you don't like mushrooms.
Right.
If you give them a bit of chocolate because you love chocolate, they know that. And they'll take it on and feel that energy and take it in, absorb it. That's
lovely. So they are considered to be light beings, right?
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
They are.
Some people say, well, maybe it's a different genre or something, but...
No. They are part of the angelic realms. Angels, dragons, elementals, unicorns are all part of the angelic realms. Now, you used the word hierarchy earlier, but they don't like me using that word. They told me to take it out of my books because it implies one is better than another.
Yes.
And they say that, in fact, they are all part of the angelic realms. And whether you're a guardian angel at a 7th dimensional frequency, you're there because you're doing that perfect job at that frequency, that level, or a seraphim at a 12th dimensional frequency, you are still equal. And the analogy they draw is that the 5-year-old child in primary school might be a highly evolved, most amazing being, and he is exactly the same spiritually as the head teacher who has got more earthly experience.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we are on Earth. We tend to put people into categories, and actually, in the spiritual realms, they don't need to do that. Everybody and everything is part of the oneness.
Well, that's kind of me. I don't like labels in general, because it gives somebody a preconceived notion that could be very wrong if they know.
It restricts you, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. Now, when you were talking about the dragons and the angels and the fae and the unicorns, do they interact with each other?
Oh, yes, indeed. For example, the unicorns, as you know, are powerful, highly evolved beings, and they may go, a group of them may go across the sky holding the energy of a storm, trying to stop the storm from doing too much damage. And so they put their light into it. Now, when they've passed on, the fairies will hold that energy for as long as possible in that place to try and protect it. So they work symbiotically together all the time. In fact, if I see something not nice on television, I will send dragons in who can go deep into the dense energy and clear it and consume it, and they can go down into the earth itself and clear it. And then I'll send angels who will enfold the people and comfort them and help them, and unicorns will go above the situation and pour light into it to try to raise the frequency for everybody. So they all do something slightly different.
Yeah, but if someone, and I hate to say it this way, but if someone isn't pure, if somebody is really an evil soul, a horrible soul. And unfortunately, there are lots of those out there. And they tried to call for a unicorn. Would they get their call answered?
Well, unfortunately, no, because the unicorns cannot bring their frequency down to the third dimension. So they cannot touch such a person. But, of course, that person still needs love, needs more love than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And so if you asked a unicorn to touch them and they simply can't bring their frequency down that low, then your energy is not wasted. Perhaps an angel or a dragon might go instead to try and help touch their heart in some way.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, the energy that we put out in prayer or in visualization is never, ever wasted. It goes into a general pool and will be used to help somebody in some way.
And, I was just thinking that I know, as you were talking, I know lots of people who would, and they're not bad people, but they would think that they weren't worthy enough to be able to attract a unicorn, for example. They would say, well, I'm flawed. I have done, not horrible things, but, like everybody else, they've...
Yes.
So what would you say to someone who said, well, I would really like to get in touch with a unicorn. I would like to get healed or at least, have the unicorn around. What would you tell them if they say, well, I'm not worthy?
I would say that they are human beings and it's part of the human state to feel you're not worthy. But in fact, what the unicorns see is the light that you have. They don't see your negative stuff. They see your beauty, your light, the good things you've done, the love that you've sent out. That's what they see, your potential and the hope. And they're there trying to touch you. So just meet them halfway, open your heart to them and let them in.
So in other words, they know us better than sometimes we know ourselves, right?
I'd say always. Because they're enlightened beings, they see everything from a higher perspective. Mm-hmm. They see the source light in people, and they are just waiting for it to come out and for you to be ready to let them touch you.
Yeah, and sometimes it's difficult for people maybe to understand with all the so-called mythical creatures that they're expecting maybe to see them flesh and blood like humans, as opposed to realizing that their energy, and you may be able to see them, but more often than not you'd probably feel their energy in the beginning, and that they actually do exist. I mean, there's always that conflict. Oh, fairies, no, Tinkerbell kind of thing. You get that attitude from a lot of people, and I don't think you can change people's minds, but I think their minds can be changed. They just need to open up their minds a little bit more, right?
Well, I think when you're ready, then the experience happens and something happens to enable you to believe. I mean, I'm making a documentary at the moment. I've just had to laugh. The guy that's making it, the director, is extremely nice, a very, very nice man. But of course, he's never been in touch with the angelic realms. Mm-hmm. And so the morning that he's sending me all the information, he decides to take his dog for a walk. And he's thinking, what am I doing with unicorns? And he puts the dog bag in the bin, and there is a toy unicorn in the dog bin. And he runs home and he says, it's a sign. But that evening he's going to post the information to me. And he again takes the dog down to the post box. And he said it was surreal. On the corner there were 3 people. And as he walked past them, the young woman said to the 2 men, I'm really looking forward to wearing my unicorn horn tonight. He said twice in one day. And he could hardly believe it, but he knew that was the unicorn's way of giving him a sign. Mm-hmm. And of course, they can give you millions of signs. They drop little white feathers, just like angels do. And that for many people is the sign that they need. But these days, you're wondering about them, and somebody will give you a mug with a unicorn stamped on it. And that says to you, oh, this is your sign. So start looking for the signs.
Yes, and if you don't look hard enough, I mean, you'll still see them, because I had a similar story with a friend who was a little dubious about witches and didn't really believe that witches are real, you know. And so I was trying to inform him, open his eyes, make him understand a little bit. And he said he was driving one day right after that, and he turns on the radio, and the first song that comes up is Witchy Woman. And, you know, he said, okay, that's a coincidence. And then he looked up a few miles down the road, and there was a street sign, and it was like Witchy Way or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had like 3 things happen that day, and he got back to me. He says, you know, you're not going to believe this. And he told me, I said, well, you were the one who didn't believe. Now you do, don't you? You know, it's wonderful when those things happen. Absolutely wonderful.
And of course, because of everything that's happening with this wave of unicorns coming in, it's so much easier for people. It's being presented to them on a plate, really.
Yes. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes, so everybody hang tight, and we'll be back with Diana and talking about unicorns.
Don't go away. There's more Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks right after these important messages.
Hey there. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a great new radio show on Para X. 2 hosts, 1 hour, and too much fun. Stephanie and Heidi not only talk about the latest goings-on in the supernatural worlds, they live it. They want to hear from you. They want to help you understand and guide you. And they want you to tune in. So, grab a friend or come alone to gather around that metaphysical table with Heidi and Stephanie. If you're interested in the worlds of the unseen, tune in to the Gathering Radio Show, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
Just in time for Halloween. Explore the second edition of the Witch's Oracle deck through 45 innovative cards and enhanced guidebook that peers into the world of the witch. The deck's stunning artwork has a new look and includes 7 brand new inspirational cards. Each card now includes a suggested crystal or gemstone to enhance your reading, as well as a magical incantation that provides energy, reinforces the card's meaning, and helps the desired message to be sent out into the universe. The easy-to-navigate guide also has a new look and offers straightforward, gentle guidance that takes readers through both good times and bad. And now includes a chapter on crystal and gemstone divination by the amazing Nicholas Pearson. The deck can also be used in conjunction with tarot, the Witch's Oracle. It is a perfect divination deck for witches as well as non-pagans, and is designed to suit both seasoned readers and beginners alike. Find out more about the Witch's Oracle deck at marlabrooks.com, and is now available for pre-ordering from schifferbooks.com and amazon.com. Welcome back to Stirring the Cauldron. Once again, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
And yes, we're back with Diana Cooper, and she's the author of The Wonder of Unicorns. And really a great book. And there's just so much to cover in it. And Diana, I've told you I'm kind of going to go back and forth and jump around here a little bit because I want everybody to see how many things you've written about and how wonderful it is. Because the book, first of all, is it includes like real life anecdotes, life stories from people who've seen and experienced them firsthand. But there are also exercises in the book that assist the reader in many ways. And I'm interested in finding out how to take a unicorn for a walk, or take a unicorn walk.
Okay, well, I tell you what I do, and I love doing this because I have to walk my dogs every day. And that is, I just make sure I'm grounded, and then I tune into the unicorn kingdom. To do that, you only have to think about them and just say, you know, I'm connecting to the unicorn kingdom. And then have a sense of their energy touching you. Then, wherever I am, I send their blessings to the trees. And you can really see over time how the trees light up when this happens, and then start noticing the water and send a unicorn blessing into the water and know that the light is going into the water and will spread everywhere, because of course unicorns carry the Christ light, which is pure unconditional love, and then the flowers and other people that you pass, and it raises your frequency, makes your aura glow, and also touches all those people that you've passed. So you can make it the entire walk, or you can just do it for a few moments. But it also opens your eyes to everything there, because you're looking for things to bless. Now, I think the other thing that's important about unicorn walks and unicorn blessings is that you see a person who looks miserable. Just send it to him or her a blessing, a unicorn blessing, and wish them the happiness that they want, and just picture them happy. Or if you see somebody who's begging, just send them the unicorn blessing and picture them with a job and prosperous. And you're adding wonderful energy to the wish that you have for them. And it's a very powerful thing to do.
And anybody can do it, correct?
Well, I'll tell you a story. I'm not sure if it's in this book, but it was like I was asked to see a teenager. Now, she had been from birth very disabled. She was in a wheelchair, had never spoken, but she was highly intelligent, and she had learnt to communicate with a computer with special symbols on it. And she could take ages for her to move her hands to the right place, but she could do it. And she saw angels, but now she'd seen a unicorn, and she asked her parents if there was any way they could get in touch with me. Turned out I lived quite near her, and I went to visit her. My goodness, what an inspiring girl, 15 years old. We sat for several hours and communicated in this very slow, painful way. What she said was that she wanted to be able to help and serve people. And I explained to her about unicorn blessings, how you could bring them in and how you could then send them to people, and the unicorns would touch that person and try to bring about the blessing that you'd sent them. You know, she lit up, this child. She just said, now I have a life purpose. There is something I can do to be useful. And she was just so overjoyed. I left feeling completely humbled and yet elevated, because it was just such an amazing thing. And the reminder is that if you're bedbound, if you're unemployed, whatever it is, you can still do this work and be incredibly useful.
That's important. It is very important. And that's a very inspiring story.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm jumping to unicorn humming balls now, because when I read a book, there's certain things that just jump out at me right away, and that was one of them. So, could you please explain what a unicorn humming ball is, what it's used for, and how we go about creating one?
I've been doing humming balls for years. They're really, really popular, and they work so well. And you can make an individual one just on your own, or you can do it with a group, and you can make a great big one and send it to really change things. So you call in the unicorn energy, and then you just hold your hands a little way apart so that there's an energy that can create a ball in between your cupped hands, and then you start humming. And as you hum, you think about the beauty and wonder of the unicorns, and you hum their energy into the ball. You may also want to add qualities, healing or joy or something in there as well. And then when you have got your beautiful humming ball, you send it to somebody. Now, this is so powerful. Again, I was doing a seminar this time in Ireland, and this man created a unicorn humming ball, and he sent it to his mother, who'd been in deep depression since his brother died. She hadn't left the house. She was sitting in the kitchen. She saw the ball coming through her kitchen wall and hitting her in her heart center. And from that moment, the depression lifted and she started living again. Now, these things are incredibly powerful. And we can change lives when we let go of our ego, just do it in a completely unattached way and send that unicorn love and blessing to people.
I actually personally love to send out energy balls in general. It's such a simple thing to do, but it has such a profound result.
Oh, it can be amazing and life-changing, like in that particular case.
Mm-hmm.
Astonishing.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, just absolutely astonishing what they can do with the energy when we send it out with that clear intention.
Yes, and some people say, well, how do I know? I've got my hands cupped and on either side, how do I know that it's there? And I was taught long ago for energy balls in general to rub your hands together.
Yes.
For a while. And then
system.
Yeah, then pull your hands apart and very slowly pull them apart. And then if you very slowly try to put them back together, you can feel the energy. You can literally feel the energy there. So when people say, well, I don't know, I don't know that that's there, that is a tangible way to find out.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And when you've done that, then you know what the edge of an aura feels like as well. So if you're asking the unicorns to heal yourself or somebody else or to smooth your aura, you can call them in, do the same thing, feel that tangible energy, and then bring your hands down over your body about an inch away and ask the unicorns to put their energy into your body. Mm-hmm. And they will. And they will smooth your aura, as you know, and they will just put their special high frequency pure light into you, and it can go into you at whatever level you are ready to receive it. So it can go right into a cellular level if you're ready.
Is there any way that we can give back to the unicorn by giving them our energy? Does that do any good? Does it have any meaning?
I think that if you work with the unicorns, then that there is that symbiotic relationship automatically between you, and they are receiving as they're giving.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now, I was really happy to see the chapter about unicorns and crystals. Can we talk a little bit about that in general and unicorn crystal healing in particular?
Absolutely, because crystals are so powerful anyway in their own right. And when you connect them with a being like a unicorn, it just makes the power so much more stronger. I mean, I love selenite, and unicorns are very connected to selenite energy. And I have little pieces of selenite above the door lintels in my house, so that when anybody comes in, they're automatically being bathed in unicorn energy. And that's lovely. And I think that a lot of children especially, they love to hold a selenite wand. I mean, you can use a clear quartz crystal as well, but holding a selenite wand, and then that's their magic wand. And they can, with intention, give blessings, touch their animals and say, ask the unicorns to touch you, whatever, enabling magic to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole situation is totally magical, and that's the beauty of it. And you also write in the book about making a unicorn crystal altar. Can you tell somebody how they could do that?
Yeah, well, an altar is a sacred place. Right. It's devoted to spirit, and it becomes a power spot if you hold the right intention and purity for it. And I think that people think, oh, I've got to have, an obvious one in the house, but you don't. You can just make a little altar somewhere, that on a shelf or even in a drawer. The most important thing is that you know it's there. And then you hold your crystal and you dedicate it and put it on the altar and ask the unicorns to touch that crystal, because very often a unicorn can come in, but it needs something to focus on, and a crystal is a great focus for it to come in. So when you've found your special place, then put a cloth on it, maybe a gold cloth or a white one or a velvet one, something like that. And I always like to have the 4 elements represented. So a candle or a little picture of a fire dragon, something like that for fire. Earth, you can have a pebble or a crystal. Water, you can have a vase of flowers or just a little vase, something small with flowers in. And air, a feather or something like that. And then bless the items and put anything else that you want on it to make it very special and unique to you.
Is there a specific crystal that unicorns are attracted to, maybe than some other?
Selenite, as I said, and pure quartz is also another one that they work through, but they've always seemed to have had this connection with the selenite. I think it's the color of the moon, and of course unicorns are also very connected to the moon. They've been coming in with these supermoons in incredible numbers, and now, as opposed to say 10 years ago, the unicorns are able to step through human beings. Once you've got your 12 fifth dimensional chakras open, you've got your causal chakra above your head open, which is your own personal moon. If you are ready and you call in the unicorns and you dedicate yourself, they can come from beyond the stargate of Lyra through your own causal chakra. And this is how many unicorns are accessing Earth now. And it's a great piece of service work, and it enables your causal chakra to grow and expand too. So it's helping everybody.
Now, about the altar also, like I have an ancestor altar here. Now, can I put a little offering to the unicorn on that altar, or do they prefer their very own?
No, put an offering to ask the unicorns to help your ancestors, and they will come into your soul star chakra, and they will give blessings down the line back through your ancestral line and help them, and all your family lines. So yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because I have crystals on the altar. I have all the other stuff that need be, but I thought, as I was reading this, I thought, maybe we can combine the altars in a sense and make them more blessed, stronger, whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's right. And you will not only just have it as a portal bringing in all the ancestors and all the energies that you bring in, but you will have the unicorns coming through it as well. So you'll have that pure white energy, that pure source energy coming down through into your altar, into your home.
And Paul, when you're doing that, you're talking about portals. Are there other types of portals for unicorns to come into?
Well, portal's just a high frequency space, and so it's how you dedicate it. So you can dedicate it to be a place where beings can step through, where your ancestors can step through, or for anything else. I do quite a lot with animals, and so I make quite a few animal portals, so high frequency spaces blessed by the unicorns and angels and dragons, where animals can step through for comfort or healing or to help them pass over. I tell you, unicorns can even be quite practical. I have the most fabulous little dog who is terrible as well.
Spoiled, I'm guessing, yes.
Oh, no, she's got Jack Russell in her.
Oh, okay. That explains it. All right.
That's it all. And she will disappear at the drop of a hat. She's off hunting if she can possibly go. And I have to wait for her for ages. And recently, and I have always asked the angel of animals just to look after her, so I know she's safe. Don't have to worry about her. But recently I've taken to asking the unicorns just to give her a nudge when it's time to come back to me. And it's been magical. Suddenly this miscreant comes racing towards me out of the bushes. Oh, wow. I never thought of doing that before.
I'm going to have to use that on my cat. Seriously. nothing else seems to work, but if that works, I'm definitely going to use it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, he's a stubborn one, so we'll see. If he were a dog, he would be a Jack Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, he's something else. Now, I was also very curious to read about unicorn gardens. I mean, I love gardening, and in California, we can garden most of the year. So let's talk about unicorn gardens. What plants to plant, or what offerings to make, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that if you're doing it with children, they love everything white. And unicorns, of course, are traditionally white. They contain all the colors. And so if I'm making a unicorn garden, I would use white pebbles, white crystals if I had them. Sometimes it's nice just to put white flowers and plant them in there. But mainly it's a place with a little bit of water where you keep the energy high and pure and clear, where the unicorns can come. And they love it. In my last house, I asked the builder who was doing an extension for me to build me a unicorn garden. He'd never done anything like this before. When he left, he sat with his head on in his hands on the step and said, "I never want to leave this place."
Oh.
And I thought, for a big, burly builder, that was quite remarkable. And it's the energy that you put in, and the caring and the love and the beauty. Now, if I'm doing one with my grandchildren, we might paint twigs white and make a little fairy type of garden with lots of glitter and white energy that we can call the unicorns in and ask them to be there and touch it. And they love doing that.
I'm going to have to get a lot of white to put in my garden. My garden is actually, well, in the spring, the jasmine, it's pink jasmine, but pink jasmine is white, as we know. So it's beautifully white in the spring, but all my other plants are very colorful. So I'm going to have to make an effort to get some white pebbles and white things and maybe like a little white fountain or something there.
Right, yes, I think they love it, but it's the intention, isn't it? Yeah. Because color is all part of whiteness. White contains every color.
True.
And so it's about expressing their divinity in a different way.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other things that are in the book, because, as I said, there are just way lots and lots of information there. The other thing that caught my eye, I'm looking for it right now, is some of the myths and legends about unicorns, because you have Eastern myths and legends, you have Western myths and legends. What are some of the greatest myths, actually, because people think of them, some people think of them as mythological. Do you have a favorite myth or two of unicorn legend?
Oh, I think there's one, the German one I love. And I think, if I've got it right, if I remember it right, there was this wise old lady, and they called her a witch. And she was a hermit, she lived in this cave, and people came to her for healing. But then, of course, they didn't allow that. And so the soldiers were sent to stop her and to arrest her. And she just stood there, completely without fear, as the soldiers came up the hill to get her. And then as they arrived at the ledge where she was, she disappeared on a unicorn. And all those soldiers just fell back.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And of course, Mary is always seen with a unicorn. Mother Mary. She's always seen with a unicorn wherever she is. And if you see pictures of her, there's nearly always a unicorn painted with her. And in Atlantis, she always had a unicorn with her.
That makes very good sense, One more thing. How a lot of my listeners are pagan. Let's talk just a wee bit about spreading unicorn magic. How do we do that?
Well, pagan, as you know, just means country dweller.
Yes.
It means that you're not in touch with all the concrete stuff of towns, that you're in touch with the magic. And unicorns are part of the magic. And they're also part of like the white brotherhood. And I think very much a lot of paganism is as well. It's the purity of it. And it's the belonging to the earth. It's almost like what I'm getting a picture of is that the pagans are holding the energy down here and connecting with the beauty and the purity of the earth. And the unicorns are bringing it down from the heavens. And they're meeting in the middle. And now is the time of balance. It's the time of bringing everything together and the oneness. And so there's a very good reason for it all to merge together.
And spreading unicorn magic is just something that needs to be done, I think.
It's part of it, yes. It really,
knowing that we can, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually, unicorns are about pure love and light. That's what they are. They carry the Christ light, which is the unconditional love, which comes down from the 12th dimension into Earth via the unicorns.
And, I think there's still so much to cover, but we obviously don't have the time. But I think the bottom line is that your book, The Wonder of Unicorns, is a book to inspire and empower us on our spiritual paths. And can you please give everyone the website so they can find out more about you, this book, and all the other books that you've written?
There's masses of information on my website. It's dianacooper.com.
Easy to get to, and probably, well, it held my attention for quite a while. I kind of had to tear myself away. And as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about picking a card, you have several decks on the page that people can choose from, and all they have to do is click on it and they will get their reading. And there's also a newsletter that they can subscribe to as well, right?
Yes. I send a newsletter out every month. I do free Facebook Lives, and I do lots of Zoom online courses as well. And I just picked a message from the unicorns to leave with, and this is hope. And there's a great rainbow, and it says, look with new eyes and create the change that awaits you.
That's a blessing. It certainly is. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing the Wonder of Unicorns with us, Diana, and also want to thank everyone for listening in. And until next time, everybody, blessed be, and merry meet again. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks. Please join us again next week at the same time for another great guest and more cauldron stirring. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without explicit permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2019. The Mysterioso March by Kevin MacLeod is licensed through incompetech.com.